Homes have been affected, families have been destroyed, and we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not allow anything that is not beneficial for the Ummah. We know that Allah will not allow anything that is not beneficial for the Ummah. So we are interested in looking at the issues regarding polygamy. We are streaming online. I'm going to share the link where we are streaming online on the platform for all of us, so that at least if you have people who want to join us, they can join us. That is the YouTube link which has been shared. We have in the house our Ustaz, our professor, Ustaz Abdul Latif Ibrahim Overiti is our guest today, who will give us part of discussants. And we also have our mother. Our mother was the former Amira of the Criterion, National Amira of the Criterion. A mother that is an example to the Huma. Last time in the house, our mother, Alaja Monsurat Adeduafuyi. And they are going to lead us in the discussion. First, we will ask our stars to start off. Then our mother, please, at least you have 20 minutes to present, each of you. Then maybe there are issues that people can now raise and you can address. And there are some issues I've outlined, which I know based on discussion with people, I know people have raised issues about them. And these are issues we can look at. Bismillah, ya Ustaz.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي حلل النكاح وحرم الزنا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. For us this opportunity to meet and to discuss this issue. And I want to thank the various brothers and sisters for giving me this privilege to be part of the discussion. Alhamdulillah, we are not going to any technicalities by saying it's polygamy, what is polygyny, what is, we don't need that now because of the time. The most important thing is that this issue shouldn't have been an issue that will cause any controversy among Muslims. But because we all profess Islam and we like to bear this faith by name, not by conviction, some of us, that is why we are having this problem. And what Almighty Allah says is that enter wholeheartedly into Islam. And he gave us a Quran to guide us. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done a marvelous job to interpret this Quran to all Muslims. What is required of us is for us to follow this manual religiously. So we all need to submit ourselves to Allah first. If you said we have Iman, we have to believe in him wholeheartedly without believing any other thing. And if we said we love the Holy Prophet Muhammad, which is our only way to the Jannah, and is our leader, is our teacher, and is our Lord. So there will be no any problem with this issue. The issue of polygamy, because of we all know that polygamy is part of African culture, European culture, Arab culture, and what have you. Before the advent of Islam, everybody, they were practicing polygamy before. And when the Holy Quran, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, it is part of what the prophets regulated. That is, people are married without regulation before the advent of Islam. And when Islam came, Islam pegged polygamy to 4. You are entitled to marry up to 4 wives. And Islam laid down conditions to be satisfied before you can be eligible to marry more than 1 wife. Islam even says that the scholar makes us to know that that there are different types of marriage with regards to wajib, haram, and mustahabu. Some people, they are not eligible to marry at all. It is haram for them to marry, talk less of having more than 1 wife. If you are impotent or you have a disease that could not make you to perform well with your wife, it is haram for you to marry 1 wife. Talk less of having more than 1 wife. If you have a wife and you cannot satisfy your wife sexually, and you cannot cater for the needs of your wife and your children, you are not eligible to marry another wife. So Islam has stipulated all these conditions. It is when you have the means. The Holy Prophet Muhammad told us that man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj. If you have the weather, you have the means to marry, it is then you are eligible to marry. But today, some of us, some people will even tell you that Islam says that you can marry as much as you want. No, that is not what Islam says. Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 3, stated that Fankihu matoba lakum minan nisa mathna wa thulatha wa ruba' fa in khiftum alla ta'dilu fawahidatan aw malakati ayman. That's what Quran says, that marry of the woman that pleases you, 2, 3, or 4. But if you feel that you shall not be able to deal justly, then only 1. Then marry only 1, or what your right heart possesses. That would be more suitable to prevent you from doing injustice. So the bottom line in marriage is that you should have the ability to do justice. If a man is not mentally stable, it is for him to marry a wife, talk less of having more than 1 wife. It is so. If you don't have the means and you don't have the physical ability to satisfy your wife, you are to maintain only 1. Don't go further than that. Though I just want to chip this in. Some of our scholars, in accordance with the Quran we have just read, the verses of the Quran that we read, say that Allah has his divine wisdom when he's talking and mentions something first before the other. He said, mentioning 2 wives is the most ideal thing for Muslim to do, having 2 wives. Then if you have the ability to increase or all what it takes to have more than two, and now have 3, 4. But if you know you are not able to maintain more than one wife, you can just stick to one. So they said it's like they ask you to go and buy iyan. Go and buy iyan for me. If there is no iyan, buy amala. If there is no amala, buy eba. If there is no eba, don't come home, you can buy efo. That is why he said 2, 3, 4, and so the Holy Prophet Muhammad that married more than 4 wives has good reason for it, and that was approved by Almighty Allah. But we should not marry more than 4 wives. So we have condition, as like what we have mentioned now. Justice is paramount in the issue of polygamy. Justice. You have to be just among your wives. 1, some people will say there is another verse of the Quran that said we cannot do justice. Even if we strive to do justice, we cannot. That is why we must marry only one. That is not correct. If we read that ayah, the verse that said we should not marry more than, we discover that Allah, what Allah is saying here is that we cannot do justice with regards to having affection for our wives. That is what we cannot maintain. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has explained this to us in one of the hadiths collected by Aisha, our mother, and related by Buhari in Sahih al-Bukhari, that the Holy Prophet, whenever he went around his wife, he would say, "Oh Allah, this that I have ability to do is what I have done. But the one I did not have the control of, that is having affection for one more than the other, is from you. So please don't hold me responsible for that." That is what the Holy Prophets used to say. This explains that the justice we are saying that in the distribution, in provision for the wives, we must be just. But in affection, we may not be able to control, because that is in the hands of Almighty Allah. So what we are saying in essence is that if you know you cannot marry more than one wife, please don't marry two. Don't say because people are married, they are doing polygamy. My friends have been doing it. It's not something you say because my friends are doing it. If you don't have the ability to do it, please don't do it. Some of us, we know that if you have sexual cohabitation with your wife, you cannot even do more than one at a time. And that one, it will be after 1 month or 2 months that you can do another one. You are not eligible in any way to marry another one. Now, you are unable to pay the school fees of your children regularly. And you said polygamy is your right. It is not your right. You are not eligible to marry more than one wife. All these things we have experienced in our community because we are dealing with women. So we have experienced it. Some people, they did not have the means to satisfy their wife sexually and materially. Yet they are for another wife, you will account to Almighty Allah in the day of judgment. Number two, in terms of provision of materials, you have to be just there too. It's part of the condition for you to be able to marry another wife to have the capability to do so. Like, for example, if the first wife you have only one flat, 3-bedroom flat. If you want to marry another one, you cannot ask your wife that you have to pack yourself into one room. So we will be using I want to use the other room for it's not ideal. You should have the means to have another flat for your new wife. If you know you don't have that, please, you are not eligible to marry more than one wife. Now, likewise, if you are able, you know your capability, and you to maintain 2 wives, and you marry 2 wives, you have to be just. This justice is relative. That is, you have to know that your first wife has her own taste, and he has her own standard. You should not draw down the standard because you want to have another wife. You should be able to maintain that standard, and maintain the standard of the new ones before you can marry another wife. This is part of our brothers' adult cognizance of that, making them to abuse the privilege given to them by Almighty Allah. Now, in addition to this, I want to remember the point sent to me so that I will relate it to it. I was discussing with one of my wife the other time, before I marry a second wife, that it is just for you, if I know you love Guinea, and the other wife that is called me loves Ankara, and I want to buy for you, I should look at what you want and what she loves and provide it to the 2 of you accordingly. She misunderstood this, but later, when it comes to the practical aspect of it, he now realized that it was true, that if you want to do whatever you want to do, deal with each wife accordingly. Not that you want to raise everyone to the standard of the other, or you want to relegate one. No, you don't do that. You ask them what they want. This one wants a Ibori, and the other one wants hijab. It is just for you to provide Ibori for Nibori and provide hijab for the one that's for hijab. Now, yes. Now, any problems, sir?
Go ahead. You still have 3 minutes. You still have 3 minutes. Go ahead. Ustaz, go ahead. You still have 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I can hear you, Ustaz. Go ahead. You still have 3 minutes. Oh, the network is bad from the other end. So please, participants, you just wait. The network is bad from its end.
To base our distribution on night days, it is possible if you can add the day to it. But if you have other things, your work up and what have you, you can do that. But night, you have to distribute it is 2 nights or 3 nights or 1. It is left to you to then with agreement of your wives. Now, if you have more than one, maybe 4, you do it 1. That would be just. Don't, because you love one more than the other, and drop, merge his own night with another. It is not done in Islam, and it's not just. Justice Almighty Allah wants us to do. And another point that I would like to add is the issue of if you have certain things that is right, but for us to maintain justice and peace in our house, we should know that it is not easy for our women to accept another wife, although it should be easy for them because Islam has said it. If they totally submit to the will of Almighty Allah, they should accept for their husband to marry more than one wife if they have the ability to do so. But we men, we should not take this for a license to abuse the privilege. If you have a cousin of your wife, a distant cousin that you want to marry, if you discuss it with your wife and she consented to that, it's okay. But if she said, no, I approve for you to marry another wife, but not my cousin or not for my family, we have a lot of women around. Please, let's, because of peace, let us honor her feelings in these regards. Now, another thing is that marrying more than,
you have a minute now.
I want to quickly look. I want to address another point. Sorry, okay, sir. The point is that for us to marry another wife while the first wife is resisting, her resistance should not be an obstacle for us to marry another one. If we have all the means and we know we can do justice, I think the wife should fear Almighty Allah and allow her husband to marry without resistance. Another one that we should take cognizance of is that if you have, some scholars said you can promise your wife as a dowry that you will not marry another wife. But these scholars later said if there is necessity, the necessity necessitates that you marry another wife, you have to give the wife the mahar, the sadaki that they are giving presently during the time you want to marry another wife, and you are free to marry another one. Now, the last one, because of the time, that I want to mention now is that we have Almighty Allah lay down this regulation and system of polygamy for us to have peace in our society, to be able to cater for our women, to be able to cater for their emotional problem, their stress, to alleviate their problem. So we brothers that are married, we have a lot of widows that need our affection, need our assistance, need our protection, because the marriage is for assistance, for protection, for sakina, for tranquility. So we have, you said you want to do ibadah, and we have a lot of widows who are suffering in silence. Why going for the virgin ladies when we have young boys that will marry those ones? So I want to implore us, if it is true that we want to do polygamy for the sake of Almighty Allah, we should put this into consideration. We have a lot of them in our society, and we women, we are the problem of this. We are the one that is constituting the clog in the wheel of the progress of polygamy in our society, because we don't want our husband to marry another one, simply because we don't want our children to share if our husbands are in the estate of our brother. This is not good enough. We should fear Allah. We should submit to Him totally.
Yes.
Now,
So,
in case of having joint accounts with our first wife, then you want to now marry another one, you have to separate the accounts. It is not ideal in the first instance to have joint accounts with your wife, because you are the one that should be maintaining the house. Whatever your wife earns is her home property. If he likes, he can give you out of this property. That is the stand of Islam. Now that you have done it in the name of bringing the Western culture to Islam, and you wanted to marry another wife, you have to separate it, because you cannot using Paul money to rob Peter and pay Paul, as they used to say. So we have to. There's another one. Maybe I will come back to it after this. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu ala al-mursalin walhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
So we thank our stars for the comprehensive discussion. I think you have spent 25 minutes.
25. That means I still have 5 minutes.
No, you are supposed to spend 25 minutes. 20 minutes rather.
I thought you said 30 minutes, sir.
No, okay, sorry, it's 20 minutes. But
okay,
25 minutes. But please, stars, there is an issue based on your discussion. Sorry, there is noise close to my place. There is this issue you address now, which
sir.
I will later on raise. You raise the issue of the fact that brothers who are willing to have maybe a second or third or fourth wife should make as priority what we call either widows or divorcees or very aged sisters. But brothers have noted that the Quran says, whoever you are interested in among women. That one is more or less like what we call description, not prescription. Allah described, so people are now saying, okay, that's true. You can have interest in divorcees, widows, or those who are aged. They're just describing.
Of course.
But it's not really a prescription of Islam. So we will call our sister now, who will talk to us. So please, our mother, Elijah Mosaf Adeluafi, please, you can now go ahead in your discussion, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We give thanks to Almighty Allah, who in His infinite mercy has made it possible for us to come up with this discussion. We testify our belief, our faith in Almighty Allah by saying there is no God except Allah, there is no being worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a messenger of Almighty Allah. We attest to the fact that we have, by that attestation, agreed to be guided by the Quran and the Hadith, and that we have agreed that all that Almighty Allah wants us to do are the things that we will do as much as possible. And all that he has forbidden us not to do, we will aspire as much as possible to move away from. I want to stand on the existing protocol as established by our prof, and I will take off to take us to some practical aspect, just like he said too. We are all very familiar with what we mean by polygamy, and that in this instance, we are talking about polygamy in Islam, and it is about the allowance, the permission given to a man to marry more than a wife at the same time, up to the limit of 4. We are very much aware that Almighty Allah, in His infinite mercy, permitted, just like it was recited to us from Quran chapter 4, and that the Prophet ﷺ actually practicalized being married to many women at the same time. Let me quickly say that, like Allah Himself has said in the Quran, that in the Prophet is a complete example, is a complete model for us. Let me therefore remind us that at the initial stage of the life of the married life of the Prophet was a monogamist. He was married to our mother in Islam, Khadija, until her death. He did not marry another woman. So that is to say that for those men who will want to remain monogamist, they have in the Prophet ﷺ an example to draw from. And in the same vein, after the demise of our mother Khadija, the Prophet was involved in polygamous home. So even for our polygamist men, they have in the Prophet ﷺ a perfect example to draw from, so that whichever way we decide to go, we are not unguided. Let me quickly make this point too. Like our father said, I just want to reiterate it, that for Allah to have permitted anything, let us note again that polygamy in Islam is not made to be wajib, it's not compulsory. It is not as if unless you do it, you are not a complete Muslim. No, it is just that Allah permits it. And let me make quick to say that whatever Allah permits, therefore, is for our own good. It couldn't have been something that is meant to be a source of problem for us. But the unfortunate thing at this contemporary time is that we find that many men are into, many of our brothers, many of our men that are into polygamy are into polygamy, and rather than make polygamy itself a solution to some of our social problems, they have made it a source of problems for us as a society. And that is the reason why probably we are discussing, and we will continue to discuss. We will continue to discuss. Like the point was earlier made, why so many of our brothers will tell you they have diverse reasons why they want to go into polygamy. Some of them will tell you it's because they believe they have arrived, they have the capacity and the capability, and they want to assist the single women amidst us, maybe as widows, as divorcees, or as aged single ladies. They will even want to tell you that it's because they are not, the single woman in their home is not able to satisfy them sexually, and rather than get involved in zina, it is better for them to bring in extra women so as to satisfy themselves. You find even situations where they will say because the woman is barren, because a family is not able to have children, then there is the man wants to bring in another woman or more women, perhaps they will be able to procreate through them. And of course, some of them will even tell you that, okay, this particular woman in the home has been having female, and they want to have males. And so for that reason, they want to try their luck by having another woman. Some of them will come up with such reasons as, look, this woman has been having males, and I want to have at least a female as my child. And so that is why they are considering it. The one reason that is not too good, that people should try, men should try and run away from, is when they believe that, okay, the woman in the home is not as obedient, is not as is not as submissive as is expected of her, according to the husband, then the husband now decides to marry another woman in order to use that to punish her. In Islam, you are not supposed to go into polygamy because you want to punish one woman. I've even heard of a case of someone who said while he was still young, he approached a particular woman, and the woman did not agree to marry him. And for a long time, he eventually got married to another woman. And for a long time, this woman was just there until she started from being a lady, she became a woman, also blah, 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 blah. She was pursuing career till she was old enough as to have been forgotten by men of her age. And they invariably met at some other time, and he was ready to marry her. Why? Because to show to her that, okay, next time, women should learn. When we said we wanted to marry you, you thought we would not make it in life. And so this is an opportunity to now deal with you and give it to you. That, I would say, is not right in Islam. Of course, you can come around and say, oh, you're still around, okay. Well, if you don't mind to be a second one in my home, go and discuss with my wife, whatever. What I'm saying is that there are 1,001 reasons why a man can decide to marry a second or third or fourth wife. But because it is permitted in Islam, does not mean that it's just a free license to do and undo. Just like our father had said, you've got to be able to, you've got to have the capacity and the capability, materially and physically, even emotionally, psychologically. You must be able to deal with two women, because women are special species of Allah, and they have their own makeup, and you really have to have that wisdom of being able to deal with them before you can go. It's not meant, polygamy is not a game for every man out there. Having said that, therefore, we have issues with our contemporary polygamous practice because of the background from where we are coming. The very first one that I want to identify is that taqwa. That taqwa, we really need to watch it from all angles, from the angle of the man and from the angle of the women. We've got to have the fear of Almighty Allah. We've got to remember that, yes, Allah created us for a purpose, and it is that we should come and worship Him. And that has been explained to us, that in everything that you do, therefore, you must be seen to have the fear of Allah, and you must be seen to be worshiping Almighty Allah, even through all of your activities, even everything that you want to think you want to do. But you find out that many a time, I will tell you, the main cause of failure in polygamous homes, and perhaps the main cause of rancor in the home, I will tell you, is basically the man most of the time. It's basically the man most of the time. Because many a time, these men lack even the knowledge. Whereas if you want to go into anything, what Islam teaches is that you should know about that, find out, get to know, develop skills. You cannot give the work of an accountant to an engineer and vice versa. We know when it comes to such things that we take our time to really learn what we want to practice. But many a time, these brothers do not learn about what Islam says about getting into polygamy. They don't learn about the required skills to be able to cope, even with a man, a man and a woman, just like it was said. If you don't have what it takes, there's no point going into marriage. Marriage is supposed to be a source of harmony, a source of tranquility, companionship, happiness, all of the things that would be good for two people to have come together. So if you do not have what it takes to be able to bring two women together and be able to take care of them to the extent that you still extend all of this to them, there's no point going into polygamy. Like I said, many a time you find these men not having that taqwa. It's not there. Like somebody we were discussing at the time, and somebody told me jovially that you know that the average polygamist is a liar. I said, but no, Islam does not want us to to tell lies. That you are a polygamist does not mean that you must be a liar. And that person say, no, for you to succeed with women, no, you must, women don't like being told the truth. And so you find them engaging in lies. You tell a lie to wife A about wife B, or about what you want to do, what you are doing, and then you tell another lie to wife B. But these are in themselves sources of challenges. Again, many a time, like it was mentioned even by our prof, the contemporary Muslims, especially the educated ones, we started from the premise of the Western understanding. We started from the premise of the Western culture. Yes, we were, in the first instance, Yorubas, which in itself had some culture that has been given unto us that we have imbibed into our life. Then because we went to schools, because we were enlightened, because we were educated, we were towing the lines and of the Western world. And we now bring to bear our Islam so that the average educated Muslim, with due respect, is some of the times with a confused culture. At a time, he or she will see, let me say the man, most of the time, at a time he will see himself in Yoruba land, that is not taken. At another time, say, no, okay, we are together, we do everything. What will make a man go into joint bank account with a woman, if not for Western orientation? Then even when the going was good, even at the point of toasting your first wife, you find many of these men telling the wives to be that, no, once I have you, I won't have any cause to marry another person. Because we know that there are some of our sisters who left Islam just because they have that excuse, I don't want to marry a Muslim because after a while, I will come and say he wants to marry another wife. And then there are women that will say, okay, let me stay, provided you will not marry another woman. Then they will have agreed with the woman. By the time they are now thinking of marrying the second one, rather than sitting this other person down and then, even if it means you have to cajole, you have to beg, you have to buy her some things, you have to do some things to convince her. After all, that person is your wife. They will do boldface and say, no, Islam allows that I can marry, so you cannot be the one to say I cannot marry. How will you disturb me? Oh, that was the time of Jahili. I didn't know that it was wrong of me to have agreed with you. And then even by the time they are saying it now, they will say in a very rough manner, not minding what happens. Of course, by the time you do that, even if this woman is not going to divorce you, it's not as if you have created a good platform for that woman to be a friend to the incoming wife. Again, you find in situations where these men will come. I mean, how can a man go behind and say, well, I'm free, I can marry, I don't want to offend the woman in the house, and I'm free, I can marry. So because I don't want to offend her, I don't want to affect her psychologically, then you go behind her and get married to another woman. Just like this Jahili, the people of the other faith will do. At home, it is one man, one wife. But the day of his death, you'll see so many other women coming about with children and then with witnesses to confirm that truly. You find some of our brothers engaging in something similar. They will have conducted the Nikai, some of them years. It will be by chance that the woman at home will get to know, or some of them will have conducted the Nikai before coming home to tell her, and then sending some people to her to appease her that, well, it was because he was trying to respect you, he didn't want to offend you, all of this. So the way and the manner by which these men go about these things, they create a lot of problems for the homes, to the extent that rather than making polygamy a source of solution to some of our social problems, as earlier identified, they themselves, the polygamy that these people will practice in itself creates a lot of other social problems. Like, if a home that is not settled, you cannot really bring up the right children from that environment. You start, the home is divided, sometimes they get the children to be some for the father, some for the mother, things like that. The whole environment will be upside down. Why? Whereas there's no need for us to do that. If Allah has prescribed something, then go about it in the most legal, moral, just, and acceptable manner, in a way that you will not unnecessarily create problems. Many a time, you find part of the things that will create the problems is, women, in fact, human beings, once there are two of us, there is bound to be some level of disagreement in some instances. There will be conflict. But many a time, these men do not know how to handle these conflicts. You'll find situations where men will be the one trying to help the other woman to state the cause of their disagreements with the first wife. And many a time, you see men being overprotective of the second wife, the latter wife, against the first wife. Well, I know you very well. You are the one. You will be the one that is fomenting the trouble. You didn't want her to come in the first instance. That is, and then they create unnecessary problems. So many times, you find men that will bring the second woman into the same apartment. And you now expect these women to share kitchen, share toilets, share sitting room, share everything that is, even sometimes share room. We have seen situations where the man will bring another woman and then they say, the two of you share one room. And then he has a room to himself. And so when he needs them, they go and visit in his room. And of course, once there is more than a person, there is bound to be disagreement, there is bound to be conflicts. And when these conflicts now even come about, these men do not know how to handle. And you see them creating more problems than trying to solve problems. Coming back to issues of being fair and just, some of the time, our men do not know that there's a world of difference between equity and equality. They tend to juxtapose them. They tend to use them, to replace as synonyms, as if they are synonyms, and they are not necessarily synonyms. Like the point was made, you don't have to bring the standard of somebody in the home already down because you are bringing somebody who is of a lower status into the other. So, well, that is what I can afford. I have given this person, and that is what I can afford for you. Okay, your children were going to high-rated private schools, but now maybe two of them have gone, and you still have two others because this other woman is now here. And I say, no, I can't afford that school again. So let all of them come and go to public school. When you know that that is not the standard, the kind of standard that you have set. For the second woman, it's okay. Let them go. School is school. But for this first woman, it may not be that okay. And the man will say, that is it. So that's what I can afford for all of them. Now, and that is not being just. Again, you find our men not even being patient, and they are not ready to persevere. And many a time, they are always on their edge because of the pressure. And that is because they have not actually acquired the skills. And everywhere, everything will be in dischanting. But my appeal and my discourse with my own sisters is that all of the times, in all of the situations, the women are the worst for it. And that is why I will always solicit and will want to, have this kind of discussion with my sisters that, look, why do you want to allow a man, somebody is doing something which he believes he wants to enjoy, he's making his life, he wants to be happy with whatever it is he's doing for whatever reason. Because many times, sometimes you find these men coming up to say they want to do jihad. It is because they want to do jihad, they want to serve Allah, they want to help the cause of the Muslim Ummah by marrying some of these women that have some challenges. And so they want to solve their problems. But even while they are trying to solve the problem of those ones, they create problems for the one that was not having original problem before, that was not having problem, and they don't mind. So my advice to women generally, therefore, is that for anything that you cannot change, because we all have agreed that Allah has permitted it. If Allah permits anything, He will not have permitted something that will be injurious to us. So if it is injurious, therefore, let's find out what is the cause of this injury. And if you see that it is the man that is not handling the situation very well, then be yourself and try to ensure that, as far as we are concerned, on your own part, you do all that will give everybody peace, including yourself. Including yourself. Accept what you cannot change and begin to manage it. And then be very fair. Just at every point in time, you as a person, just make up your mind as a woman that I will be fair in these affairs of ours. If I'm the first, I will be fair. If I'm the second, I want to be fair. If I'm the last, I want to be fair. I want to show empathy. I want to put myself in the situation of the other person. If I were, will I have taken this? If I were, how would I have felt if this was to be done to me? And if you have that kind of a mindset, therefore, we will reduce the negative impact on also. Like I said, if the first wife remains the Ojuoko in quote, then the second wife is the worst for it. It's a woman. If it is about the second woman that is now the Ojuoko and the first one is being treated like an old hijab, I always make that example for us, that if your husband is treating you like an old hijab, that is, we know as Muslim women, our hijab is very, very, we are very particular about our hijab. So if you buy a new hijab, the thing will be shocking you. You want to show it to the world that, oh, this is my new one, it's fitting, it's fine, it's this, it's that. It could even be that it is not bigger. I've decided to wear a very big hijab now, and like that small one that you want to show it to the world and you want to say everything good about it. So if you find yourself in that kind of a situation, let that first wife just take it easy. That when she buys a new hijab too, that's how the thing will be shocking her. But after a while, you start washing that same hijab, it becomes an old one too. And before you know it, the two of you will come on the same level with this man. And if you have that second woman that is being carried about as the new hijab, you are everything, you are there, you are sugar, you are honey at the same time, that you are there to sweeten everything. Just remember that there was a time that other woman was like that. There was a time that other woman was saying like sugar in the tea, like salt in the soup and what have you. And that you should equally remember that, okay, if you are the second, hey, a third can still come in, a fourth can still come in. Even in this climb, we know that some men, even when they have reached their peak of the fourth, sometimes they will discard one to be able to pick another one. So it's not as if you are immune against what is happening to this. So just show empathy. If I were, how will I feel? If I were, what will I say? If I were, how will I have taken this? So if we all behave with ourselves with the fear of Allah and with the knowledge acquisition of knowledge, let us know what Islam says, how Islam wants us to do, whatever it is that we want to do, and then acquire some skills that will make us, handle dealing with many of ourselves at the same time. And we go by the advice of the Quran chapter 3, verse 200. The advice is Biru, Vasobiru, Arabitu, Atakullah, La'alakum Tuflihun. At all times, be patient, persevere amongst yourself, be steadfast, be just, be equitable, be fair. Do what will let people to do unto you to others. Be empathizing, be sympathetic. If there is need for you to sympathize with someone, sympathize, show love, show kindness. And the brothers too, when you want to scold, when you want to, advise, admonish, do it with love, with kindness. And tabano, and it's tabano, Lara Manta. Many a time the man will go, my first wife is giving me a hell of a time. Yes, we will give you a hell of a time because of what you are doing. You are enjoying yourself. And so at least you try to palliate the other person, not just take it out there. I don't care. By the time you say you don't care, and she too says she does not care, the whole thing, everything will go into shambles. So like I was appealing to my sisters, therefore, at any point in time, just let's look at ourselves. That how can a man just be enjoying himself for whatever reason he's doing it, he believes he's doing it and he's enjoying it, he's happy with what he's doing. So why will you allow him to create unhappiness? Create discord among us, women. We are women. We should be our sister's keeper. That sisterhood should be there. in us. If anything, at least most of the time, our men will marry Muslims. Of course, we know there have been situations where they will go and marry a Christian. They tell you they want to convert her to Islam. Okay, fine, even at that. But most of the time, we are Muslims. Even if you can't see anything in that person other than being a co-wife, see her as your Muslim sister at least. And there's a way Islam has enjoined us to deal with ourselves as Muslim sisters. The sisterhood thing is there. You be fair. You do the right thing as far as you are concerned. Ensure that you do not go out of your way. Don't allow somebody to make you commit sin, to make you offend people just because many of you have been brought in. So just be fair. Let's be patient. Let's be let's persevere. Let's reduce conflict as much as possible. And whoever is going into polygamy should be cancelled. Let there be marriage counseling for them, all the parties involved, just like we used to do, even for the singles when they want to get married. So even when somebody wants to go polygamous, let all of them be cancelled. The first wife, the second wife, even the husband. Let there be constant reminders from people that are there. Let this man be fair in sharing time, like the point was made, sharing time, living arrangements in a way that will not create problems, sharing your time, the conjugal relationship will ensure traveling. When the man is traveling, let the man be very fair to all the parties, and then provision of material and conjugal needs must always be kept in focus. And as women, let us be ready to discuss our issues with these men. Discuss with them and discuss with the other person. Let's agree on the modalities, all of the things that we want to do, how we want to go about as much as possible so that we do not give ourselves unnecessary stress. These days, you have situations where women have gone down with mental ailments because of the kind of depression they have gotten as a result of their husband engaging in polygamy. We have seen situations of depression, mental derailment, even loss of job, loss of concentration, unhappiness, sadness, even sickness. Because all of us have one thing or the other that we are carrying about as a point of ailment. It is when you now stress yourself too much that the stress will go and eat that thing and then becomes a very serious source of sickness or ailment. So let's, as members of the same Ummah, be our brother's keeper, be our sister's keeper, and ensure that we have the fear of Allah. External influences are still part of the things. These external influences could come from in-laws, could come from friends, could come from relations, could come from anywhere and everywhere. Even from colleagues in the office, if you go there to just, people will be showing unnecessary sympathy as if something bad, as if someone has lost a child. Hey, your husband, we learned that your husband has picked a second wife, and so don't allow people to give you unnecessary headache. It is not as if you are bereaved that your husband is speaking. He's not going to be the first person to marry a second wife or third or fourth, as the case may be, and he's not going to be the last. So why would you want to kill yourself? Why would you want to give yourself unnecessary hardship just because somebody is trying to do? But in one of the things that we do, let us all have the fear of Allah, have the concern of the other party. What it takes to do it, we should be ready to do, so that we know constantly that even if nobody sees us, Allah is there to make account for whatever it is that we have done. If we continue to have peace and harmony in all of our homes, whether monogamous, polygamous home. فسبحان ربك رب العزة عما
يصفون والسلام على المرسلين. We want to thank our sister for that insightful and purposeful presentation. I think all of us will have taken one or two things. First, the brothers, we have this triple heritage problem. You want to be a Yoruba or one Hausa man. You want to be also a Western man, and you also want to be a Muslim. At the end of the day, we end up establishing problems within our families. We have been told that in most cases, men are the problems. Men are the problem. And I am sure brothers who are with us, maybe one or two things you will have picked up regarding areas we should improve upon. And there is one factor that is apparent from our presentation: lack of quality education about polygamy. We do give excuses. I want to do sooner. Oh, my wife has just female children. Oh, it's just male children. Oh, she's not a good wife. And then Allah give you the license, but it's a guided license that says you can have 2, 3, 4, or you stay with one. Why are you now trying to give damaging excuses? Somebody you are complaining about that is not good, that's why you want to marry. It's like punishment. It should be because you want to serve Allah. She emphasized the word taqwa, piety, obedience to the command of Allah, not just to drive our passion because it's now the fashion. So we thank Allah on the brother and sister. So our stars will have 5 minutes. We also call our mother for another 5 minutes. Please, stars, you have 5 minutes to round off your presentation regarding what we are. Let me just admit the sister who is online. You have that time to talk to us. What are those things that you want to add to what we have been told? Stars, Prof. Go ahead. You can mute your microphone, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I just want to add, with regards to the questions or the points you raised before Ajia started our presentation, that some people said, "Fankihu ma tobalakum minan nisa." That is why they don't want widows, they don't want this. Fankihu does not negate marry a woman that you love, that you like. Does not negate the fact that you can marry a widow. You see, Allah has informed us in the Holy Quran that asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum wa asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khairun lakum. Allahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. If we understand this verse very well, you know that you can see that the Holy Prophet Muhammad married many wives, not because he loves all of them, but because it is necessary for him to take care of them, to protect them, and to give them succor. So you can marry to be sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And if you said you just want to marry a virgin, it may be sharrun laka. It may not be good for you. And look at Hadija. There is no any woman that surpasses Hadija among the wives of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and she's a widow. So we should know that in Islam, Allah wants us to fear Allah and to be our brothers and sisters keepers. Then those who want, if you want to marry, like you said, sir, the problem in the polygamy, from my own investigation, most of the problems are caused by men because they did not strive to do justice. They want to, how can an husband wanted to create rancor between his wife just because he wanted to be exploring them? This is not fair. This is not just. This is not piety. So we should try as much as possible. Since I enter into polygamy now, my first wife told me that if she has known that this is how the situation will be, she would have asked me to marry long time ago, because her fear was that I would be inclined to the other woman more than her, because that one is younger than her. But she didn't see anything like that. She thought the what I've been giving her for as a provision we dwindle. She didn't see anything like that. So it is up to us, we men, to fear Allah in our women, so that we earn the pleasure of Almighty Allah. Polygamy is not for you to have fun. It's for you to do ibadah and to protect women, as Almighty Allah wants us to be. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity.
Go ahead, ma.
Okay, thank you very much, my brother, for the second chance. And this time around, I want to say that although you find people when they talk about polygamy as if it's all about failure, 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 failure. No, I want to confirm and affirm that there are instances where some polygamous homes, some polygamous marriages can be said to be successful. The kind of peace that is expected, you find there, the harmony you find there. In fact, you find that all the children, you get to some homes, you won't know who is the mother to this child and who is the mother to the other child, because they have been able to bond, and the man is being in control, and the women too were part of they contributed to it positively. And so they are able to make a success of it. It's not all about failure, 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 failure all the time. There have been some level of successes recorded. And I will therefore enjoin whoever wants to do it. Look at your intention very well, and be ready to learn from the examples of people, or even from the pitfalls of those that have made a failure out of it. I mean, we have seen situations where one of the two men will invariably have to leave that marriage. By the time it was not palatable enough, either the first wife will leave and then she becomes a single mother, and then she's rearing the children all alone, and all of the problems that will be associated with single motherhood will be there. Or we find even situation that the second one will be the one that will pack out, whichever one is not good for the woman. So let us all resolve. If you find ourselves in it, fine. Let's resolve that we take our time. The men, take your time, learn about it. Look for where there have been successes, harness the success factors so that you will be prepared to, work harder on them. Look at the areas of failure factors and see what you can do. Even in the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we have a lot of lessons to learn. The Almighty Allah affirmed to us that these women, they are our women, they are our mothers in faith, and they are role models. They were examples, but it was not as if they didn't have their share of conflicts or problems of having more than a woman around. But there were ways and means through which the Prophet ﷺ handled the situations. I remember there was a story of one of the wives of the Prophet breaking the plate with the food plate of another one, because out of jealousy. And the Prophet said, okay, go and replace that. You have your own similar plate. Yeah, give your own plate to her, because you are the one that broke this one. Let us note that whoever, as a man, wants to go into polygamy must be a firm person, somebody that is fearless. The person that the person will be fearing is Almighty Allah. That we at all times fear is Almighty Allah. You will not fear what the one mothers, because you cajoled the parents of the second wife, and then you don't want them to talk ill of you. And so you will just be doing anything to favor them, or vice versa, whichever way. Let's be fair, and let's from the onset give to ourselves that this thing I want to go into, I have a reason that I want to go into it, and I want to do it very well. I want to make a success out of it. And you will be very prayerful. You are conscious. You do not just behave anyhow. Even when there is a problem, you sit back. Like the Prophet ﷺ has advised us, look at it. Once you have a problem, look at yourself first. Could I have been the cause of this problem? What is this problem about? How do we go about finding the solution to this problem? And once you're able to do that, if you are a good leader that you are supposed to be as a man, there are not likely to be unnecessary issues. And where the women are not compatible, where they cannot live together, you can't bring a very dirty and untidy woman to come and live with a very, these people that are at, I've forgotten the grammar now, but somebody that is well organized, very organized person that will want things in our place and will not want any kind of, you can't bring them to come and live together by force. You cannot. You can't bring them to come and live together by force. So you have to look at all of these issues, and you find a situation where the man will tell you, I can't be galvanizing from one end of the city to the other end just because the two of you say you cannot live together. You better try and live together, or you mind you. No. It's not like that. Everybody that wants to do anything should have the fear of Allah, have your reason well laid, and get to know how best to do it, and be prepared to do it the best way. And don't forget Allah will be very prayerful. Not by your might, many a time, not by your might, but by the leave of Almighty Allah. Because many a time you find men doing younger, women can be very, very mischievous. And no single man can claim to know two women 100%. Because many a time, some women can have two roles, two faces of their life. One when the husband is there, another one when the husband is not there. It takes the wisdom of Allah. It takes the fear of Allah. It takes prayer for you to be able to lead many people. It's not easy leading people, and that's why you find people, complaining here and there. But if you want to, then you must be ready to do it. The same thing I charge my sisters: have the fear of Allah. Allah has not created you because of that man alone. Allah created you to come and serve him. To the extent that you can serve Allah through this man, please do. To the extent that you can serve this other woman through, you can serve Allah through this woman, please do. And believe that Allah sees everything and will always be there to compensate for whatever it is that you do. In the same vein, if you go behind to do anything that's bad, know that even if nobody sees you, Allah sees you and is there to recompense each and every one for his or her role, for whatever it is that you have done on earth. We should all remember the whole essence of marriage.
5 minutes,
the whole essence of
sorry,
the whole essence of marriage is to create harmony, peace, sakina, ama in the society. Whether you have just a woman or 2 or 3 or 4 and their children, and that should be your focal point at all times. May Allah make it easy for us. Assalamu alaikum.
Amen. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think all of us, we have learned so much from our presenters. What I will just do, please, those of you who are willing to talk, you can just indicate by raising up your hand, or you can ask your question using the chat forum. I just want to, within 2 minutes, do like a summary of the issues. The first we have established is that Allah permits polygamy, and whatever is bad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give it as something permissible in Islam. We should look at the problems we have as the problem of the drivers. That means the men particularly, and some women who are involved. And we can't blame a very good vehicle for the accident caused by a drunken driver. That is the conclusion. 2, we must rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who had given us the permission, who created us, our Lord, our Sharisha. We must obey him so that we don't start off with girlfriend and end up saying, oh, this is going to be a second wife. We know it's haram in Islam. And we need to be prayerful for success. No matter how good you are, how much you try, only Allah can ensure success.
Allah is giving me good news.
Now, the third one is that any man who wants to do it, you must be able to know that you have the financial capability and ability. If your wives will have to share responsibilities with you, please and please don't democratize poverty. Stay within your means. It's not compulsory. You must have more than a wife. Allah says those who have the means, they should marry, not those who don't have the means. Next, also, if you don't have the physical capability sexually to even satisfy a woman, don't start talking about having other wives. And you must be fair, and you must show equity, not equality. For instance, don't bring somebody's standard down because she must meet the standard of the co-wife. No, don't bring her down. Within what she has brought to the environment, let her standard be improved. It's better you add value to her life, not to devalue her because you don't have the means to add value to her life. And we have been told again that polygamy is not a free license, but a guided license that Allah will ask you to account for every division of a second you spend in a polygamous family. The Prophet ﷺ said, any man who is unjust will come out on the day of Qiyamah as a wobbled man, an unbalanced man. It should not be a reason that, oh, we want to have a second wife just to punish my first wife because of her behavior or because I would not have a particular sex. You are free. Don't start giving those excuses. You can have it in your mind, but please, in the name of Allah, don't even say it out. Just go ahead and then do not deceive your wife. It is true you can marry a second wife, but for what we call social investment, for you to have a stable family while you are alive, and for a family that is in unity after your death, let your first wife know that you are going to have a second wife and let her support you. If we go out to do it, you have created the foundation for everlasting conflicts and discord within your family. And we should have what we call the fear of Allah. And we should know that we men, we are the main source for success or failure. And again, we have been told that our sisters, it's true that you may not like it, but Allah allows it. When you accept what Allah allows, you can be sure that inshallah, if it is initially, you are going to have the benefit. So now, if there are people who want to talk, we want to thank Allah for one of our brothers, Brother Abraham Balogun, who just came out. That Allah blessing. We thank Allah for your health. We pray that all of us, Allah will give us good health. It's with us online. So please, if you have any comment to make, just raise up your hand, or you can use let's just see the, okay, let me see. Okay, I've not seen any question. Please, if you want to ask question, you can raise your hand, please. And if there is none, we will give our speakers, please, I want to say, please, 2 minutes. Let us stay within that time so that we start. Okay, I've not seen anybody raising up hand. Nobody is raising up hand online. Please, if you want to raise up, if you want to talk, you can raise up your hand online so that I think you talk. Please. So, okay. Sister Amdelat Yusuf, you can talk. Or mute your microphone. You can talk now. Or mute your microphone. Or mute your microphone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Michael, I just want to contribute to the topic that to appeal to our sisters that Allah has put this polygamy inside the Quran, and there's nothing we can do. It's a trial for us, and we have to pray that we pass this trial. Because I always have in mind that what is the mission, what is the goal of Allah to have given us this great challenge in life, that we should have co-wives? It is not easy. But one solution that I always think of is that if I pass this test, it's going to be additional and different reward from Allah. Therefore, like Mommy has said, we need to be patient. And if you are the first wife, consider yourself lucky. The second wife is also envy your position. She also wants to be the first wife. So you are a trier. The second wife is also a trier to the first one and vice versa. So all of us should have the fear of Allah. that no matter how long we live on earth, we will meet Allah, we are going to die. And that you even have opportunity of sharing your husband with another sister and making her happy is also jihad. Polygamy is jihad for women. And to our brothers, they should fear Allah. No woman will want to leave the house if she's happy. But if you are not happy, because the essence of marriage is happiness. If marriage is devoid of happiness, of course you fed up, you don't want to be there again. So let's make our wives happy. Kind words. I have observed that when there is problem of polygamy in the family, men do not control their utterances. They will go to the extent that you are jealous. What is your problem? Who are you, self? Get out. If you leave, I will marry another one. The woman is also going through psychological trauma. Do not add harsh words to the situation. You must be calming down, calm your wife down. It is not easy. She's going through trauma, psychological trauma, emotional trauma. It is not easy. You should understand the psychology of women. Sharing the husband is not easy. But Allah has put it in the Quran. We have no choice. May Allah grant us the mercy to be able to pass. Assalamu alaikum.
So our stars, please 2 minutes before we end. Start 2 minutes. Okay, let me just see. Unmute your microphone, sir.
So, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I just want to align with the last speaker to appeal to our brothers and sisters in Islam that Almighty Allah lay down this system of polygamy in order to make peace and tranquility strive supreme in our society. Please don't let us abuse it. The women, please accept the will of Almighty Allah. Submit to Him totally by accepting polygamy. And brothers, we implore you to fear Allah in your wives. So don't make this Allah of Almighty Allah your way to Jahannam. Just fear Allah. Be just among your wives. Try to be just. Try to take care of them. Try to protect them. Don't cause any wahala between your wives just for you to enjoy your life. May Almighty Allah continue to be with us. I thank you very much, sir, and the pious for this privilege. May Almighty Allah continue to be with us. Assalamu
alaikum. Our mother, you can please unmute your microphone. Unmute, ma. Sorry.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. One more time.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alamin. We thank Almighty Allah for His mercy and favor. I adopt all that has been said by our daddy and my sister. And I want to add that whoever is in business with Almighty Allah will always profit. That is the promise of Allah. You can't go into a trade, into a business, into a partnership with Allah, and then you will come out making losses. No, you will always make. And like she has said, it's better for us, therefore, in whatever it is that we are doing, whatever situation, whatever circumstance, look at Allah. Look at Allah as the primary. And then every other thing, you will make every other thing to hover around Allah. Allah has permitted, okay, so I cannot say it's not permitted. Okay, Allah has permitted, He has laid down guidelines for us. That is what I will follow. Okay, this other person is not following the guidelines. Admonish now. We are allowed to even advise ourselves. The wife can always advise the husband. The husband can always advise the wife. The first wife can advise the second wife and vice versa. No, let none of us think that he or she has all the knowledge, all the wisdom of the world. By the time we try to do that, be very open, be very sincere, we will make a success of all of these things. Because like we said, Allah will not prescribe something that will be harmful. After all, we are told in the Quran that, okay, even in alcohol, there are some advantages and disadvantages, but that the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. So that is why it is forbidden for you. If polygamy will have been as disadvantageous as we are making it in this climb, then Allah will not have permitted. So that Allah permits it means that there are good things in it. If only we wait and we look deeply, we will see the benefits of polygamy. It's at the end of the day beneficial to everybody, all the parties involved. For instance, as a woman, the challenge of being the only person to take care of everything is somewhat reduced. You have a partner who will help out in some instances. And with the man too, he's relaxed. It's not just one who, and when people are competing, somehow you bring the best out of all of them. And if everybody is coming up with the best, and then the environment, all of us, our family will be the best for it. And that is what all of us should work towards. That if for anything, even when the other party is failing, I don't want to fail because I am in business with Almighty Allah. And for as long as you have that, honestly, you will succeed at all of it. Even in monogamous situations, are we saying they don't have problems? They have problems. They have conflicts. They have all of the things that anybody will have. Once there are two people involved, engaged in anything, there is bound to be some disagreement, some misunderstanding. But at all times, let us have the fear of Allah. Let us have the skill, human relations skills to be able to deal with our situations, deal with ourselves as brothers and sisters that we have in the deen. And we are conscious and we will not want for ourselves, but we are not yet there unless we want for our sisters and brothers what we want for ourselves. Ultimately, we all want our Jannah. And so if you all want, I want to assist you to get there. To assist me, let us all assist ourselves because we are brothers and sisters. And as brothers and sisters, well, what if a part of it is defected, the whole part is affected. So we must be ready to take care of ourselves to the extent that at the end of it all of us will find ourselves at that final eternal.
Okay.
Al-Jannah. May Allah make it. After all, this is not the end of everything. We are just here for a while. Let us use this place to work for that eternity so that all of us will get to Al-Jannah and we enjoy ourselves. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank our mother and our prof for the presentation. We have been told, obviously, Allah will not permit something that is not beneficial for the human race. When you look at the global figure, those countries where they have disallowed officially polygamy, they are serial polygamists without being lawfully married to more than a woman. And that's why you have all those abnormal sexual behavior which is creeping into our society. Allah, who created us, knows us. He knows what will be the best for us. However, we should all be Muslims. We should be Muslims so that it won't be embarrassment to Islam through our attitude. Allah has given us the standard, like our mother told us, please, my brother, let us go and learn about how to practice it. It's not too difficult. There are books Bilal Philip has, and there are other very good books on polygamy. There are issues that are arising. For example, how do you want to settle a family where the wives must share a room, where the wives are not sure where the next meal will come from? If nobody wants to talk, it will be like a prison. That Allah will enrich us with the wisdom, with the ability accountability to be good Muslims in the practice of all these things. Thanks so much. Inshallah, by next week, we'll be having another program. We want to thank our Prof, Professor Abdulateef Ibrahim Onureti, our mother, Naija Muslat Aluluwa. We thank so much. Our participants, we thank you for being part of today's program. Inshallah, we'll be meeting next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.